All right. Hey, everybody. Kevin Crouch here with South Metro Weather. Of course, I am doing the forecast lab kind of thing here, sitting down instead of the usual standing thing. This is um, this is easier. It's easier for me to just kind of rifle through all the information because there's so much to show you with the models and different kind of things. And I'm using Pivotal Weather, as you can see there, and this will look better. This is a work in progress. The This kind of layout, so it looks really cluttered and gross and awful right now. But this is a work in progress. So don't let the ill organized look to this throw you off, because it is a work in progress. So, man, what a day. We woke up this morning to models going, just kidding, with the winter storm that we've been tracking, and that they had apparently decided, never mind, we're just gonna, and it was mostly the NAM model that, and of course, the part of the problem is that social media is living and dying with every single model run. They're not looking at one model in the context of all of them. And I mean, it wasn't a few days ago that the Euro model was the one that was going, snow? What snow? I don't see any snow. While all the others, were predicting it. So you have to understand that, as I've mentioned many times through this whole process, these models, you're going to get these kind of weird outliers. So, I mean, that's going to happen. And you can't look at the entire you can't look at at one event and say, well, it's over, it's gone. One model rather. So here's what we're looking at. Generally, overall, the NAM model has put the snow and everything, the precipitation, back in the forecast. Predominantly at this point, though, the trend of the models has been to kind of shift things northward a little bit. And I'm not looking at that necessarily as a good thing, and I'll show you why. So I want to start off with, let's go back to the NAM, since that's the one that caused all of the hoopla earlier. That's not a good scroll point. There we go. So here's, why is it doing that? Here's what it's showing. That is 12 o'clock. Now, one thing I want to mention, this is, just use the arrows. This is 9 a.m. Thursday morning. So, this stuff is just now getting here. And at that point, I do believe we'll still be below freezing. But, I mean, that's 9 a.m. and it's just now making it here. So this model, at least, is definitely later than we were looking at. That can be a good thing, in terms of looking at at Thursday morning not being so much of a headache, right? So if this is the case, then Saturday morning won't be quite the problem, I'll say, that it otherwise could be. And I'm going to make a quick adjustment here. For those of you that want to see when the run was initiated, that's right below there. So, okay. So it looks like it's running a little later, so that bodes well for your Thursday morning commute. Now, I still expect things to deteriorate quickly on Thursday, so we'll progress forward. That's noon. Plenty of junk falling, right? And this is, so the orange is freezing rain. You can see the little legend down here. So Thursday morning, or noon on Thursday. Did I say Saturday morning, or are you asking about Saturday morning? Not sure, Adam. But this is freezing rain. So the orange is freezing rain. When you hear freezing rain, so a lot of you have sent me the donut graphic, which only makes me want donuts. But I get the donut graphic from several of you, and it is amusing. It's almost as good as the taco thing, right? But you can picture freezing rain as a. Um, so if I said Saturday, apparently I said Saturday morning. It's Thursday morning. I apologize if I said that. Um, this is Thursday. I mean, you can see right here. This is Thursday. This is the time that we're looking at. So follow along there. If I'm apparently too tired to say the right day. So okay, so it's Thursday. This is all Thursday. Thursday. So that's what we're talking about. But this is Thursday at noon. And when you talk about freezing rain, you talk about glazing a donut. And you think about the way that works. It's liquid enough to spread, but of course that glaze hardens. That's freezing rain, not what you want. You don't want freezing rain because that's what causes the ice on the ground. So this is noon. This is the NAM model that this morning threw out all of the precipitation, right? It basically, everybody was saying the precipitation, is over, it's gone, because the NAM model had basically abandoned it completely, acted like it was never going to happen at all. I felt a little punked, but again, I know that you have to look at these things in context, and that's what makes the difference. So this is noon on Thursday. So sleet, freezing rain, falling. 3 o'clock. So what I want to show you here is we do have some freezing rain here in that orange. The blue is the snow. The purple is more of your sleet. So number one, the trend is still a mix. Okay, as far as what's going to be falling, I still see a mix. Now, the green obviously is rain. And what you notice in the difference is that there's a lot more rain. That's just because we're warming up. But here's the thing. The temperature Thursday, we may not get out of basically mid to low 30s. The temperature, per the National Weather Service at least, has been trending cooler. I mean, we were looking at the temperature being, 34 degrees. Now they're going 33 degrees, now maybe 32. So they're saying it's probably going to hover right around 32 degrees or so. And so, with that being said, it's going to be more likely that we'll see more freezing rain, and that it will continue to freeze, and that the ground will stay relatively cool. Right now, roadways, of course. Surface roadways take longer to freeze than bridges and overpasses. Bridges and overpasses are going to be slick. I mean, there's really no way around that. And I was on a couple of bridges earlier, and they're already, you can already see the brine trails. So those were already being treated. Sorry, I'm getting messages here. So let's go on to, 3 o'clock, we're warmer. 6 o'clock, it's almost all rain. And so that's, you know what? Let's take a look. What does it have temperatures at here at that time? 6 o'clock Thursday. Okay. So 33 degrees. 33, 34. So that's right above freezing, right? So if we have liquid moisture falling, I mean, we're probably going to be, it's not going to be for long. It probably won't be for long. I think the NAM might be overstating temperatures a little bit, might be warming things a little above what they probably will be. So with that said, we will have to be more concerned about, freezing rain and those kind of things and those impacts late Thursday. I want to go forward. Here's 9 o'clock on Thursday. It's still got just rain, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. 12 a.m. Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking that the NAM, and I haven't really looked at the temperatures so much yet. Megan, thank you so much for your Venmo donation. That is greatly appreciated. Okay, so 3 a.m. Finally, the NAM is figuring out, oh, cold. So temperatures will be below freezing by midnight, certainly by 3 a.m. 3 a.m., we're well below freezing, probably. We're back in the 20s. But you see here, and this is kind of going with what I said yesterday, that, we're looking at colder conditions, colder temperatures being the case as we get to as we get into overnight Thursday into Friday morning. So I do think that will be our best chance to see snow. I think we will wake up, most of us at least in this area will wake up to at least a dusting of snow on the ground by Friday morning. Here is 6 a.m. Friday. So as we have been saying, this has stayed consistent, that this stuff will be moving out by early Friday morning. And you can see that most of us are getting at least a little bit of snow here. It may be a kind of a wet snow, but I think most of us will see at least a little bit of snow. This is 9 a.m. and then noon. So this has been consistent that I think everything's pretty much gone, for the most part at least, by the time we get to noon. Now, let's jump over and take a look at the HR model, the high resolution rapid refresh model. This model runs every hour. That's the rapid refresh part of that. And take a look at this. So the virtue of doing this at 8 instead of 7 is that there's a 7 o'clock run of this model and it's already completed. The others will take a little while. But let's see what the HR has for us tonight. Let's take a look at the 7. Okay. See, the purple here is sleet. So the timing here, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., so 7 a.m. Thursday morning. So again, it's showing it starting, sunrise and later, which is for those who have to drive on Thursday morning. It's generally good news because by the time you're getting out and going where you need to go, there won't have been a lot of precipitation to hit the ground. Now, it will probably be a nasty drive, especially, this is 8 a.m. So if this timeline stays, it's probably going to be pretty nasty out there. This is 9 a.m. This is 10 a.m., 11, noon, 1. So you can tell that this is colder because there's sleet all over here. So we're talking sleet at 1 o'clock. And I think that's realistic here. It gets to 3 o'clock, and where you see that kind of purple lift northward. That's because we're warming up, right? Warming generally kind of moves in from the south. So, and then we get to 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Okay, now we're starting to cool down again, and that's the end of the run. The HR doesn't run as far out as the others. Every 6 hours, it has an extended run. Between those, it's just like a day's worth of data. But this goes to 6 o'clock, and what I will say is the majority of the moisture looks like it's already kind of moving out. Although this may be kind of the backside of it, so I may be speaking prematurely here. You know what? Let's back this out a little bit, and then we'll take a look at the. Okay, yeah. So still some moisture, but this does have a lot of the what on earth? Some bot wrote a novel in the chat here. I don't have time to read all that. Okay. All right. So yeah. So I mean, and you can tell here that by the time we get to the very end of this, which again is 6 o'clock. Thursday night, a lot of the moisture is starting to kind of move out. So that could potentially bode well for Friday morning. And then everybody's been loving up on the Euro. So we'll take a look at the Euro model and we'll zoom this back in. Hang on just 1 second here. talking to the moderator here. We got some funny business going on, and we're just trying to make sure that everything is working out. So let's see. Okay, Euro model. Phew. All right, so that's. Let's see. Let's kind of do that. Okay. So what? Not this one. Not what I want you to do. Go back. Um. I'm sorry, folks. Okay. So, all right. So this is 6 a.m. So 9 a.m. So even the euro is showing a little bit of a later arrival. And that, that might be what the NAM was trying to say earlier when it just flummoxed everything and jettisoned all the moisture everywhere. So, that's kind of what, that's kind of been some of the confusion with that. Um, but that's 12 o'clock. So 3 o'clock, yeah. 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So pretty close to what the high resolution models are showing, the NAM and the HR. Again, so the kind of the what to take away from this, and we'll move on to something else here in a second. What to take away from this is that, I mean, number one, a wintry mix is expected, which is probably pretty close. And I'll get to questions here in a second. The wintry mix is what we can really expect on our side. Um, that's been pretty consistent, and I do think that late Thursday night into Friday morning we'll get at least some snow. So that's kind of what to expect there. Thursday, conditions will deteriorate throughout the day here. And hang on a second. Oh, I thought you were somebody else. It was a cat. I thought it was weather cat, but no. So that's kind of the takeaway here. And that was the chair making those weird noises, by the way. Is that if there's going to be travel impacts, Thursday morning's drive is probably not going to be as slick, but there will probably be some precipitation falling, but not as much. Conditions will deteriorate through the day Thursday. One of the variables we have, one of the questions is how warm do we get on Thursday during the day? Because that could easily throw a wrench into everything. If we don't get above freezing on Thursday, that will make Thursday evening's conditions much worse. But it's not really that good either if we warm up, because if we do warm above freezing, then that just means more moisture spreading around on the ground before it freezes, right? So, I mean, there's not really a big win there. I would say, if anything, if we can keep the temperature above 32 degrees through the 5 o'clock hour, I think that will make it a lot easier for people to get home before things really start to freeze up. So that will be a positive, and we'll have to kind of wait and see exactly how that's going to play out. Friday morning, I think that could probably be the worst of our travel impacts, because we will have frozen overnight. We'll be back in the 20s in the overnight hours, and I really do think that we could have some issues. Now, the National Weather Service is calling for minor impacts, slick roads, especially bridges and overpasses. I think that's fair. I had someone reach out to me earlier that was concerned about. They were concerned about the power lines, and apparently Fox 4 had said something about freezing on power lines, and that's possible. That is entirely possible, because when you have that freezing rain, right, it starts to weigh down those power lines, and yeah, I mean that could cause some pretty serious issues. Keep devices charged is what I would say to you. So, Josh, you're asking, would you personally say that the short range models may be shifting slightly south? No, they're shifting northward. If anything, they're shifting things a little bit farther north in terms of the wintry precipitation. So they're actually going the opposite way. But Friday morning, we'll start out with probably our most intense travel impacts. But we are expected to get above freezing. We will get above freezing on Friday. What time does that happen? I'm not sure. It could be afternoon. Could be, it could be by 10 a.m. I'm not sure exactly how quickly we warm up. Part of that may be determined by how many clouds are hanging around, right? How much sun or not we get once this thing pulls out. Sometimes that's a really big question in terms of how quickly do we clear out? How quickly do the clouds move out and do their thing? Sometimes they like to hang around a while. So that can be a potential issue as well. So that's something to keep in mind too. That Friday morning, everybody's been asking me about schools, and the schools are not going to know what they're going to do until probably the morning of. People are asking me yesterday on Monday what they're going to do on Thursday. There's no way to know. That's not how the process works. The decisions are made either the night before. They'll look at everything and say, hey, things are bad enough, we're just going to go ahead and call it. A lot of the time, they are looking at, they'll even send somebody out. Sometimes I've heard of the superintendent at times being the one to go out and actually get their own kind of idea of what the roads are like. So the schools are not going to make that kind of decision this far away. There's just no way. But especially the way the models are going, it's not the kind of thing where they go, you know what, hey, a snow day would be fun, let's go ahead and let them out. It doesn't work that way. It's a much more nuanced decision than that. So what you're seeing on your screen here is the Winter Storm Watch, and that was issued this morning before the NAM model decided just to throw everybody off. But they've held on to it. They've continued it, and what you see on your screen is the readout. So heavy mixed precipitation possible, total snow and sleet accumulations between 2 and 5 inches, ice accumulations around a light glaze to 0.1 inches possible, basically 1/10 of an inch. And so late Wednesday night, so midnight Thursday through noon Friday. That's basically where that goes. But here's the thing: these ranges between 2 and 5 inches possible. Look how big this watch is. Okay, this goes way up to the Red River and up in Oklahoma. Okay, so it's the same text for this whole area, right? So that's one of the things that can kind of be misleading on these watches, because you're looking at between 2 and 5 inches. That's covering a large area. So for our area specifically, look at the low end, right? So for ice accumulations closer to minimal, right? The problem is that minimal ice can cause a lot of issues. And frankly, I think that ice will be a bigger issue. Heavier ice accumulations can be expected here. Then it'll be more ice than snow. I know nobody wants to hear that, but it be that way. Between 2 and 5 inches of snow, or snow and sleet. So they're grouping those together. I could see a couple of inches. Snow, not sure. Again, it depends on what it does late Thursday, early Friday. I could see a couple of inches in Ellis and Johnson counties, maybe. Hill and Navarro counties will have a harder time getting snow, unfortunately, at least the way it looks right now. I think there will be some flurries, but unfortunately, the farther south you go, you start losing that opportunity. But that means there will be more rain, colder temperatures, that means more ice. So this could be expanded, and we will probably be transitioned over to a winter storm warning once we get to maybe noon tomorrow, late tomorrow. They'll probably get that issued out there, and we'll see what that looks like. But that is the alert, if you will, that is out there for that. So I want to get into questions here. So any questions you have, try to ask. I can't tell you if airlines are going to delay flights or not. There's no way to know yet. I don't work for them. I don't make those decisions. I don't know. What are we going to set on the screen here? Let's just go back to the NAM, and so let's look at the NAM model. Let's look at a couple of things. Total snowfall. Maybe this will help illustrate. Yeah, so I think this is pretty fair. You see here that, Ellis and Johnson counties, I mean, Hill and Navarro County, I do think you'll still get a dusting, a little bit of something, maybe an inch in some places, but you see how rugged this is. It's not okay, it's this much here, this much here, this much here. It's pretty rugged. So I think it'll be hit and miss in some places how much snow we actually get. But we were talking about, the trends north and east for sure, because you see that all this pink is all the way up in the Arklatex now. And it was right over northern parts of North Texas yesterday. So it is trending north and west. And then when we look at I want to see what the ice looks like, because that was actually, yes. So that looks pretty, that's what I was seeing earlier. So really you see that the ice favors farther south, because that's the more liquid precipitation that's going to spread out on roadways and surfaces and cause problems. So, all right, so let me scroll up here and let me see. Melissa, you work at a hospital. All of us are dreading spending the night there. I hear you. My dad used to work for Southwest Airlines. He was in the computer operations department, and he just had to, he just had to get a hotel across the street from the data center. So I know how that goes. Wondering if I should keep my flight for Friday morning. I mean, I can't tell you whether they're gonna cancel or not. I can't tell you that right now. I will tell you that the likelihood is pretty high, I would say. So if you're wanting to be proactive, if you're wanting to lean towards, to be safe, if you want to wait until we see what tomorrow's data says, sure. But I would say if you're trying to make a decision before then, my instinct would be to cancel that flight, just because it's going to be, it looks like it's going to be pretty gross out there, pretty rough. Josh said, how's that wraparound snow looking? Steady, moderate, heavy, light? Just curious. I think any snow we get's probably going to be on the lighter side. Stephen Cole, have to drive to Arlington from Midlothian Thursday. Should I expect icy roads on 287 and 20? Yeah, I would expect, on Thursday, not as bad as Friday morning, but it could still be slick out there. It may be dicey depending on what time Thursday. If you're trying to figure out when Thursday to drive, maybe shoot for the morning. The earlier the better, because the earlier you go, the less time there's been to cause impacts. Winter storm watches extended to 6 p.m. Friday, so that may be the case. Dusty, I haven't seen it yet, but what I will say is, again, I showed you how that watch goes all the way up to Arkansas and Louisiana. I think will be done by noon on Friday. So even if it has been extended, I don't see us being impacted by now. Yeah, I mean, Friday afternoon, we should get some melting. But the thing is, whatever doesn't evaporate and dry out Friday afternoon will refreeze Friday night. So Saturday morning, there could be some issues. But, Friday morning, I think is going to be the worst travel time. So are we thinking roads will be bad for rush hours Thursday? So Thursday morning is not as bad. But I think that, Thursday evening could be a little bit gross out there on the roads. Hopefully we can stay above freezing long enough that, we won't be looking at those kind of slick roads too terribly much by, end of the day Friday. But it's tough. Is it possible the watch to be extended to Hill and Navarro counties Thursday and Friday, since we're probably expecting more ice? It is possible. I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see what the models say. But I'll keep you updated on that. Nicole, how likely will we see snow in Waxahachie? It is possible. I think we have a pretty good likelihood of seeing some snow. Now, whether it's, I don't think we're going to be building a lot of snowmen out here. I don't. I think we may see a couple of inches of snow, maybe 3 if we're lucky, but I think it's going to be kind of hit and miss. So you may have some spots that get more snow than others, and that's usually been our experience anyway. So I think that Waxahachie will see at least some snow. I just don't know if it's going to be enough to really, make everybody happy that's looking for a good snow. Nick Bradshaw. Snow is, and Nick Bradshaw is with, I believe this is Nick with Spectrum News here. Snow is hard to predict. You're right. We won't know anything until it happens. You can only do your best. Well, we can do our best to try to get an idea ahead of time, and people have to plan. We recognize that. People, and that's why I do what I do. People have to plan ahead, and you have to have I mean, I've got businesses that are, going to be calling me between now and then going, hey, what do we do? How do we operate? So, we can only do our best, but that's why we do it. Is we have to try to help people plan ahead. What time are we expecting the first wave of precipitation in Ellis County? So everything will start Thursday morning. What time? Still a little unclear, but it does look like models are favoring now after sunrise, which is a little later than what I was expecting. I was concerned that we were going to get a higher coverage of precipitation earlier on Thursday that might cause issues during the Thursday morning commute. Now it looks like after sunrise, Thursday is when things will start. So a little bit of good news. Caleb, may I ask what piqued your interest in going to meteorology? Very good and show a lot of enthusiasm and passion. Well, thank you, Caleb. I appreciate the positivity. I have literally a picture of a tornado I was drawing at age 6. So for whatever reason, from an early age, I've been obsessed. So not honestly sure what single event got me into it. Josh, you live in Gun Barrel City. You sure you know? Yeah, I know where that is. What do you think for us? Can we see 1 to 2 inches of snow? I know you cover South Metro, but have family. Yeah, so I mean, Gun Barrel City, I think is pretty similar to Ellis and Johnson counties. You're a little further east, but I would say 1 to 3 inches of snow maybe. Doesn't look like there's too big a concern. Let me see. Is this okay? May not be too terrible concern. For ice out there, but I think Gun Barrel might see more snow than ice, but I would say maybe 2 to 3 inches of snow are possible. I would say probably about the same as the afternoon. Tiffany DeBose, just tell me I don't need to travel to work Thursday. Well, I think that's between you and your supervisor. It's between you and your boss. I can't unfortunately make that call. Let's see. The NAM model is acting crazy again. Check the newest scan. Bachelor Memes, I don't know what you're referring to. We just looked at the latest NAM. So that's what we were just going through. If you're talking about the fact that it's showing precipitation when the earlier one didn't, that if anything, the earlier the run this morning was probably an outlier, and it's probably a little bit back to normal now. The NAM model is acting crazy again. Look at the accumulations. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is everybody thinks that every model run is running crazy, and everybody gets so excited over every model run. And I'm just going, you gotta look at all of them. You gotta look at all, and you gotta, if you look at 4 model runs and one of them does something ridiculous, you look at it and go, well, that's weird. And then you kind of throw it out and you look at the other 3. So I don't see anything too crazy going on with the NAM model. If anything, the latest run of the NAM model is a little closer to what we've been looking for the entire time. Everything kind of shifted northeastward in terms of the snow, but this is not really that far off from what we were kind of expecting. Let's see. I lost my place here on the questions. Jeff, I like how you have the live feed going in the background on the TV. So, well, that's a satellite image I was looking at earlier. So, Ryan Wagner asking, you work in Coppell, do I drive in on Thursday? Because I'd probably be there until 4. Well, I can't tell you what you should or shouldn't do. I'm not going to make those decisions for you, but I will tell you that the drive in will probably be fine. The drive home may be a little messy. If you're there until 4, you may be kind of experiencing things really starting to deteriorate there. So, you just kind of have to take that for what it is. What about Red Oak? Do you think Red Oak Glen Heights area will get pretty bad on Thursday? So the thing is that what I'm talking about is really covering this entire area, right? So I'm not cherry picking one place or the other. For Glen Heights, it's just like what I was saying for Ellis County, or really any of this area. We're going to start out with things starting after sunrise on Thursday morning, deteriorate through the day Thursday, And then into Thursday night, Friday morning, that's probably when we'll get some snow, but also freeze any of that precipitation that's fallen and have probably some pretty rough travel impacts on Friday morning. Michaela, what about the schools? Too early to say. Liberty Grace, what about the schools? Too early to say. Somebody asking, have we seen the worst of the cold? We'll still have some overnight 20s. So yeah, I mean, there's no way to know about the schools. I mean, I'm not going to know that probably until at the earliest late Wednesday night, but I don't think we'll know anything until Thursday morning and then Friday morning, to be honest with you. Maybe Thursday night, just depending. Still asking about schools. Some people just joining. Will we get the wintry stuff in Waxahachie Midlothian? Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been covering. Is it'll be a wintry mix throughout the day Thursday in Ellis County. We fly out Friday, and I'm stressed about being canceled and driving to the airport. I mean, you'll definitely want to call your airline, right? Stay in tune about what's going on. And Katya, you're asking about why do they ask you about schools? Because people want to know. People want to know now. People don't want to wait. They want to know now. It's just kind of the way things go. But yeah, I mean, people people will want to know as much as they can right now whether it makes sense or not, right? Because they want to plan by it. What do you think about Waco? Waco, a little further south, lower chances for snow, but decent chances for some ice. You'll be in the warm sector, so you'll be getting mostly rain. Could be some mix in there somewhere, but mostly going to be rain. But you'll be below freezing Thursday night, so Friday morning you could have some travel impacts down there. You can see and I think the reason that we're getting the higher ice accumulations here, there's more rain, so there's more liquid to freeze, but temperatures will drop a little. You got a lot of kind of valleys and things here, so temperatures will be dropping a little bit cooler here. So you'll have higher accumulations of ice down, between Killeen and San Angelo. Any word on what's going on in Midlothian? Like I said, it's a wintry mix, right? So we'll go back through everything because it looks like there's people that are just joining this thing and didn't hear anything. So Abner asking about, are we good on the electric grid? Look, this is nowhere near what we were looking at in 2021, in February of 21, right? Nowhere near. And so that's, I would say I don't think that the grid will have issues. It's ERCOT, so who knows. But I will tell you, if there are electric failures, if you lose power during this storm, do not immediately, everybody will anyway, but don't immediately assume that the grid has failed. 99% of people will, but don't immediately assume that the grid has failed. So just yeah. It's most likely equipment failures, power lines, down, those kind of things. That's much more likely than the whole grid going down because this is not an entire state situation. So this is not anywhere near the kind of issues we had in February of 21. Kim just got on. What about Blooming Grove? We'll go back through everything because it looks like there's a lot of new people that are just joining in and didn't hear anything that we covered. So, praying to the snow god so I can work. What time on Thursday? Looks like somewhere between 8 and 10 a.m. maybe starting out. That's right now. That could change. Josh, you have a lot of just general questions here. Do you personally think the NAM or the HR is more reliable? It depends. That's a loaded question, and we got to stay focused here. Can you go backwards and talk about snow amounts, if any? We will go back through if you're just joining, hang on a while. We'll go back through and cover everything here in a second. So don't get frustrated after 3 seconds and leave. I've seen that too. Let's see. So my mom is watching live. And I'm told to say hello to Leslie. Um, so hey Leslie. Now I will tell you too. If you want a personalized greeting for somebody, I am on Cameo. I haven't gotten a lot on there, but I am on Cameo, so you can request me. Let me. Where's the? Yeah, so you can actually request a greeting from me. I've said happy birthday to people. I've said happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, so that is an option. So if you like that, download the Cameo app and check it out. Let me see. Uh, Soup Dork asking, would you recommend the Tauntaun or the Snow Speeder? Fortunately, it won't be cold enough to freeze your Tauntaun, so you're not going to have to worry about it going out on you. The Snow Speeder, there's not going to be a whole lot of snow for it to deal with. So now, it may not be cold enough for the Tauntaun. They like the colder weather, right? But your Snow Speeder, um, I mean, you're going to be less cold in the speeder. That's just one fact. So honestly, the speeder is probably going to be a better option for you. And if you don't know that I'm a Star Wars fan, now you know. Let's see. Yes, well, everybody calm down. We will go back. We will go back and cover everything one more time. So if you haven't seen everything yet, stay here. I'm trying to answer the questions we got earlier. Thomas, when you last checked the NAM and GFS, it looked like the freezing line was struggling to dip south of DFW while moisture was in town. Is that still the case? So we will get wintry mix in our area, south of Dallas. That's kind of a given. And the freezing line, it will not be the same in the same spot this entire time, because that will drop as we cool off overnight. So the freezing line, a little less relevant here at this point. All right, so let's go back. Let's rewind. Be kind, rewind. Let's be kind and rewind and go back to kind of where we started, because I know there's a lot of new people here. And let's see. Just go back and make sure I didn't miss anything there. All right, so we talked about you saw a lot of stuff talking this morning about how the NAM model completely abandoned any chance of snow, right? That was the big topic of social media discussion this morning, without a doubt. So let's get into that now. Let me see here. We're in the right spot. Just making sure I've got the right one pulled up. So this morning it said, hey, no snow. Just kidding, we're done. Hadn't stayed that way. So let me just show you. This is the NAM model, and actually I think the evening run looks pretty good, or this afternoon run. So this is, let's go back. This is 9 a.m. This may be a little bit on the later side, I think, than what we can really expect here. But, so that's 9 a.m. Now, just so you're clear, the green is rain, the purple is sleet, and then the orange is freezing rain. I don't know how accurate this necessarily is, because all of this rain here, all of this green, we will probably still be below freezing at 9 a.m. So I don't know if I really believe that there will be that much green. But this is 12 p.m. This is noon on Thursday. And what a mess. I mean, the orange is freezing rain. The purple is the sleet, and then the blue, of course, is snow. So that's noon. This is 3 o'clock. That's 6 o'clock. I think there's a lot of green, and the problem is that, and Corey, yes, I am subscribed to the professional plan with Pivotal. So the part of the issue here is that this is 6 o'clock on Thursday, and it's showing a lot of green. But I think temperatures are going to be cold enough to where that's really going to be this. I mean, it's going to be cold enough. We're going to have probably more freezing rain, I think, than regular rain. And there's also the fact that what's the best way to say it? So the rain that falls, rain itself could be an issue too, because the more rain falls, that covers everything with water that could later freeze and probably will freeze overnight into Friday morning. But going forward, this is midnight Friday. We're below freezing by this point. Now 3 a.m. Friday. So this kind of fits what we were saying yesterday. That you see the snow starting to move in, and overnight Thursday night into early Friday morning will be the best opportunity for snow across our area. The snow will probably fall while you're sleeping, unfortunately, and we will wake up Friday morning and see some snow. Thank you to David and to Christina for your Cash App gifts. That is greatly appreciated. So you have everything kind of moving out by 6 a.m. here. That's 9 a.m., 12 p.m., so noon. So I've been saying for a while, everything is going to move out Friday. That's been pretty consistent at this point. So I'm pretty comfortable with keeping that forecast and keeping that expectation. When we look at the HR model, this is the other kind of short-term model that we have, high-resolution model. When we look at that, we have this is 7 a.m. So the HR model has a little bit of an earlier timeline. So I would say between 7 and 9 a.m. is probably realistic at this point. Again, the purple is sleet. The orange is going to be freezing rain. Blue is snow. And this is a pure, I like this a little bit more because it's a real mix, right? It's just a mix of all kinds of stuff. We're going to see a mixture of all these things on Thursday, but this is 9 a.m. Thursday. So by 9 a.m., we're pretty well covered. This is 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. I think the HR is probably the most realistic because it's keeping some of that freezing precipitation around until we're more likely to warm up. And that's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Now you notice that we're starting to freeze up again by 5, 6, and that's the latest that the HR goes. It doesn't quite run as late as the NAM does. I think somebody asked what I'm drinking. It's Shiner Holiday Cheer. So I've had several people tell me they love it when I drink a beer on air, and I don't know why that's such a big deal, but I thought I hadn't had one in a while, and it has been a long day, so I figured I would treat myself. So let's see, where did I want to go from here? Let's look back at the NAM. So here's the total snowfall. So here's the snowfall accumulations forecast throughout this whole thing. That's not, is that current? So pretty, weird. This looks different than it did a second ago. I don't know if I clicked the wrong one or, but this is the snowfall for the NAM model and pretty sparse overall. I don't know if I necessarily agree with this. It's kind of wimpy there. I was sure that I saw more earlier. And this is 6 a.m. Okay, so yeah, this is the whole event. This is the 7 o'clock. So the 7 o'clock runs come in. That's what this is. Okay. So the NAM model now showing, one second here. Okay, so this is interesting. So this is, live on air. So this is what we were looking at a second ago with the NAM model. Now, the NAM model's been, pushing a little more warm air. So this is the NAM. What we need to do with the snowfall. Now, this is the snowfall accumulations. This is what that guy was talking about, that it's kind of being a little wimpy on that. I think it's pushing temperatures a little too warm. Now we look at the ice and still seeing higher southwest of us. So yeah, still an ice concern here. I think that ice is going to be a rising concern. But if we compare that to the HR model with and I know I'm bouncing around a lot, but maybe this is what I was looking for. So the HR model itself is also fairly conservative with the snow amounts. It does show, again, an inch or two. I think that's fair for Ellis County. I think there could be Ellis County, Johnson County here. I think there could be isolated places of closer to 3, but it's just kind of so sporadic with all of this. And so what I would say, and I know that there's a lot of you that have been asking about, travel impacts. Here's the way I see that going, right? So, and Nancy, you're asking about Wednesday evening. Everything should wait to Thursday morning. Just based on the way the models are going now, everything should wait until Thursday morning. Wednesday evening should be dry. So when we're getting into travel impacts, things should start around the start of the commute on Thursday morning. So it'll be nasty out there. There'll be things, there'll be plenty of precipitation probably falling by that point. However, we won't really see a lot of travel impacts at that point, I don't think. Now, by the time you're leaving work on Thursday, we'll start kind of getting back towards freezing with those temperatures. And I mean, we may not even get above freezing Thursday. I mean, temperatures are trending right around 33, 34 degrees. So we're close. But I would say that we could be looking at temperatures by the time we get to 5, 6 o'clock, dropping back below freezing. And late Thursday, early Friday morning especially, that's when I think we're going to see the worst of the travel impacts. Because Friday morning, we will have had all night for all of that to freeze. And I think that's going to be our best opportunity for snow as well. The snow will probably fall overnight Thursday while we're sleeping, and then we'll wake up Friday and see it. I don't think we're going to get enough snow to be building any snowmen or anything like that. Maybe some small ones, but I don't see there being a whole lot out there. But I think that, and if you're watching on TikTok and I haven't answered your questions, I apologize. TikTok makes it kind of difficult to do it, kind of difficult to see things the way I do it. Let's see. Okay. Just checking TikTok there. So, okay. But by the time we're getting into Friday morning, now we will get above freezing on Friday. So by the time we're getting into Friday afternoon, things will be melting. But the problem is that Friday morning, right, we'll have had a lot of opportunity for any of that to, cause some accumulations, cause some issues. And when we get into, Friday night, we'll go below freezing again. We will have melted a lot of this stuff. The question is, how much of that can we evaporate Friday afternoon? Because if there's any moisture left on bridges and overpasses Friday night, Saturday morning could be a little dicey as well. So just keep that in mind. Jamie already been begged to build a snowman, so don't say that. Even had to get carrots. Yeah, I wish I could help you out there. So, road conditions before sunrise Thursday morning. So before sunrise should be fine. I mean, it looks like the precipitation will start after sunrise on Thursday morning. So really, Tanya, that shouldn't be an issue there. And I think somebody pointed out earlier that the winter storm watch that includes our area, or at least includes Ellis and Johnson counties, had been extended to 6 p.m. on Friday night. The good news is we'll be done well before that, I think. Again, the issue will be how much of that moisture have we gotten rid of through the day Friday, and how much of that may be hanging around to refreeze Friday night into Saturday morning. That's a pretty open question at this point. A lot of people have asked me about the schools. It's too early to know what the schools will do. They don't even know at this point. It will all depend on what determination they make. I don't think they'll do anything, make any decisions before Thursday morning. And if that, they may do an early release on Thursday, just to kind of avoid deteriorating conditions. Thursday, I could reasonably see either a noon release or something like that to avoid the deteriorating conditions late Thursday. And then I don't know that they'll cancel at any point, because I don't think that there's enough of a case for an all-day event. I think that it will probably there will probably be a delay on Friday. I could see a delay happening on Friday, just to allow for any trouble spots to be thawed or dealt with or whatever. Morgan, you're asking if it's snowing in Fort Worth. There is no snow going on right now. Nothing on radar out there. So that would be a no. We can look at radar here, but there's nothing happening out there right now. Won't be until Thursday. Josh asking, do I see a winter weather advisory or a winter storm warning coming soon? It's possible. I don't work for the National Weather Service, so I don't know. Don't know the answer to that one. But yeah, that's radar. There's nothing out there, and I think that's just noise out at Breckenridge. Well, maybe not. What's going on out there? What is it seeing? It's looking really high up. Yeah, that's just clouds. It's seeing some clouds up there. That's a really high perspective for the beam. Just asking because your Fox 4 WAP app said it was. These weather apps are wild, y'all. These things. So, okay, now I'm curious. Morgan, what are you seeing that says it's snowing in Fort Worth? Like, where on the app does it show that? If you're looking at the radar, that's not snow. What you're seeing there, I think, is some clutter, maybe some... What is that? That's got to be like looking at clouds or something. Well, and the thing is, the radar on there isn't even... It's a mosaic. It's a multi-radar tower mosaic. So really what you're seeing, if you're looking at the Fox 4 app, it's the same API as the Weather Channel, but you can see some echoes on the radar. But the thing is, that's a multi-radar tower mosaic. So when I pull that up, you can see this stuff. I don't think any of that's precipitation that's hitting the ground. I'm highly doubting that. And that's probably way high up. But the thing is, when you actually look at the local radar, the actual radar tower that's located in North Fort Worth there, or actually this is the one in Burleson. So it doesn't see anything locally when you're looking close to the ground, but then way high up towards Breckenridge, it sees that. As opposed to over near Moran, you see the Dyess Air Force Base radar shows some stuff here. It's looking way high up in the atmosphere where there might be some kind of precipitation trying to happen. If we could see that, it'd probably look like Virga, where it's not, hitting the ground. So what? Okay, so this is what you're seeing, Morgan. And like I said, the WAP is the same data source as the National Weather Service, or excuse me, as the Weather Channel, rather. Fort Worth, snow will begin around Tuesday, January 7th at 9 p.m., continuing over the next few hours. Y'all see that? That's not even straight. I don't know what I'm doing. Look at that. Weather apps. Okay, so I guess I guess somebody in Fort Worth, let me know if it's snowing right now. Let me tell you guys, if it's snowing in our area right now, in Arlington Grand Prairie, again, I'm guaranteeing you, this is because the radar, the beam goes at an angle, so this is looking very high up. Because this is coming from the radar tower over here, because this is all the radar towers together. You look at the local radar, I mean, I'll look at DFW radar, that's the Love Field radar, this is DFW radar, here's the big one, KFWS, it's not seeing anything. It sees stuff over near Breckenridge, but that's so high up. What in the world? So I think if nothing else, this proves my point. So Sarah Penn, you said in Fort Worth it's not snowing, just a little misty. I mean, if we look at temperatures, so, okay. So we got what, some drizzle going on out there? Okay, temperatures are in the mid-30s, so we're not even below freezing yet. That's interesting. It's 9 o'clock. Now, here's what I want to know. So we're in the mid-30s. Okay, dew points are in the teens, so it's not fog. Your temperature has to drop below the dew point in order to get fog. Huh. Man, I'm surprised that's making it through all of the... I'm surprised that's making it through all of the dry air that we have here. I mean, like I said, dew points are in the teens and 20s. That's very dry. So it looks like maybe there's some drizzle or something happening, but I mean, I don't see snow happening. That would be remarkable. Not saying it's impossible, but it would be remarkable if that were true. Josh saying these weather apps have been drinking too much today. That is a true statement. Probably. It certainly seems that way. Certainly seems that way. So, and we're looking at lows, and that's what I'm curious about. So we still have a long way to go in terms of our temperatures overnight. But I mean, we're only in the mid-30s, so we may not quite get as cold as I think tonight. We may very well wake up with it very cold in the morning, but I digress. So overall, Thursday morning after sunrise, it looks like that's when the precipitation is going to move in. Through the day Thursday, we will see conditions continue to deteriorate. And I got to catch up on this. Okay, Marie, I'm not sure which of those is correct, but thank you so much for the Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated there. Always appreciated, never expected. Or what is it? Never anticipated, I guess, is what I say there. So, conditions deteriorate Thursday throughout the day. Thursday night, late Thursday night, Friday morning. That's when we get, number one, probably the worst deterioration of conditions. That's when we'll see everything freeze on bridges and overpasses, especially some roadways, possibly, and certainly, on the grass and the ground, that kind of thing. But what's interesting is that the National Weather Service now, they've been back and forth on these daytime temperatures. I want to see what models say tomorrow before we know how warm Thursday is going to get and how cold Thursday night gets, because they've been bouncing back and forth with what they're putting out there. So it's hard to track that. But Friday morning, we will wake up with some pretty slick, at least bridges and overpasses, probably some roadways as well. we'll wake up with at least some snow accumulation. I think Hill County, really south of Hillsborough, Corsicana, it's probably going to be. So Corey, the METAR's temperatures are up right now. That's what's on your screen. What is the current temperature in Fort Worth? So it's showing 34. Let's see. I mean, it's showing 34 at Meacham, and then 36 at the JRB, the Joint Reserve Base. So you kind of get to take your pick there. So mid 30s in Fort Worth right now. This should all be out of here by noon on Friday. The precipitation, and then we will reach above freezing on Friday. Friday afternoon. National Weather Service is calling for closer to 40. I don't know if that's necessarily true. It kind of depends on how quickly do we get the clouds out, and then once the clouds are gone, how much sun do we have? Right? How much of that time during the day do we have the sun? That will help determine how much melts, how much evaporates, how long we're above freezing, that kind of thing. But we will get below freezing again Friday night, and we won't have clouds to hold those temperatures, hold in that daytime heating. So we'll get back well into the 20s. So any moisture that's left on the ground after Friday could be, and probably will be, slick Saturday morning. So that's kind of an open question right now. So I think I've pretty well covered everything. If we want to do one more round of questions, we can do that. Again, as I mentioned, I know this setup looks kind of cluttered. It will look better in the coming days. We're gonna kind of rework how this looks on your screen. So don't be attached to this look. We will be adjusting and fixing this. I'm used to being on the green screen, but it got to the point where we were going to be going through all of these models, and it's just so much easier to do that sitting at the desk. So that's why we kind of changed the mode here. Jacob asking, in the Ennis area, will it be impacted by a bunch by everything? I mean, like we've been saying, man, it's a wintry mix. So starts Thursday morning, Thursday evening, Thursday throughout the day, things deteriorate. Thursday night, we get down to around or below freezing, and that's kind of when we'll probably see most of our snowfall through that point. And then, Friday morning we'll wake up to some snow on the ground, some ice on the ground as well, and then by noon Friday everything's moving out. Avery Davis asking, what do you think about the Athens area? Basically the same thing. I think Athens is probably going to see about the same thing. It's just a wintry mix throughout the day Thursday. That will all freeze Friday night, and we'll get some snow at that point as well. And then by noon Friday, everything's moving out. TMC Weather asking, did I get a TV? I mean, I've had this TV in here for a while, so that's been in here for a long time. It's just you don't usually see it behind me because I usually have the green screen ahead of or in front of that I'm standing in front of. So, but the green screen is away right now, and so you're seeing the TV instead of that. So that's just kind of the difference there. So I have other things I have to get to tonight. Oh, Morgan, you're coming in right at the end too. And you're asking a question I can't answer. Can't answer. Do you think schools will likely cancel? I don't know. There's no way to know. And Avery, do you think there will be enough to shut down school? I do not. I can't speak for the schools. I can't control that. The number of times that school cancellation or delay decisions have baffled me, I don't know. There's no way to know. If I had to speculate, if I was forced to speculate, I would say that an early release Thursday may be prompted depending on how things go during the day Thursday, and then a delayed start on Friday may be possible. But again, a lot of that depends on how that goes, and that's how they're going to treat it. They're not going to make a decision right now on what they're going to do Thursday and Friday. They're going to wait until basically that point to make that decision, see how things are going, and go with that. I really do think that all of the uncertainty that has led up to this event, I think is going to prompt them to wait and see. you know. So K Reed, you're asking what time we'll start on Thursday. Looks like after sunrise. So could be 7, 8, 9 a.m. somewhere in there. And again, we'll see what the models say in the morning. There may be another uproar of, well, we got tricked, we got punked, all the weathermen are wrong. Just like there was this morning with one model run. You notice it took one model run going awry for everyone to say that we have no clue what we're doing, right? Donnell Shaw, you're saying it's a funding issue for school districts. So that people like to say that. It's more than that. There is a funding aspect to that, but it's also just the fact that it throws off their entire curriculum schedules and everything. Makes it harder on the teachers because they have to catch up. So it's bigger than funding. I know that I'm guilty of it too. We used to joke that every kid's a dollar sign, right? And if they don't do this and they don't get their funding, that's all they care about. It's so much bigger than that. So much bigger than that. There is a funding question, but it's also, curriculum and meeting your requirements for, the curriculum and instructional hours and all that kind of stuff. There's so much more that goes into that decision. Any more live updates this week? Nicole, yes, we will be doing more live updates. I'll probably have another live stream tomorrow night. We'll even go live Thursday and Friday to kind of cover this stuff as it's happening. So you will see a lot of my face, probably. Although in this format, it's a little smaller, which a smaller head is always a good thing for me. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will continue to cover this as we go forward. Thank you so much for all the Venmo and Cash App. We'll put that up one more time for everybody if you want to. As I say, replenish the coffee coffers. There will be plenty of coffee going on. I am already tired. I'm already tired and exhausted. Crystal, you're coming in right at the end. So what I'll tell you is this will be posted afterwards to view on demand for you. So that would be my recommendation on that. So again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will have more live coverage. I'll have another live stream tomorrow evening, tomorrow night sometime to kind of talk about this. I've got things I got to do during the day, but tomorrow evening we'll be back with another update on this, and by that point, hopefully we'll have a better picture of what to expect, and then I'll have updates, of course, going on throughout the day